Welcome, dreamers. Tonight we dive into the shadowed corridors of ancient Crete, into the whispering stone belly of the labyrinth itself. This isn't the tale you've read in myths or seen carved in schoolbook marble. This is something smaller, quieter, closer. It's a single day in a life like yours, but older, dustier, and perhaps not meant to survive the night. The floors are cold here. Even the air feels carved. And the gods? They don't roar from the skies. They creak in the walls, tap in the corners, breathe behind doors we're told not to open. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. You're not just hearing this story, you're living it. Right here, right now, through someone else's eyes. I wake before the light, not because of duty or hunger, but because something shifts in the stone beneath my mat. Just a hair's breadth, a nudge, like the ground breathing once, shallowly, as if remembering how. It's still dark in the servant hall, and the others haven't stirred. I listen to the rustle of reeds in the windhole above, and the long, slow echo of water running somewhere deep below the complex. The walls sweat in the mornings here, condensation forming patterns no two people ever see the same way. Mine look like bullhorns. Again. I rise and wrap the sweep cloth around my shoulders, step barefoot onto the limestone floor. No one assigned me early duty, but I've learned to begin before the palace stirs. There's more quiet to think in, more time to avoid the watchful eyes of those who never speak aloud. I pass the dog-shaped pillar near the grain store. It's cracked now. No one speaks of when it broke, though the tale hums through the kitchens like soup steam. Something about a priest who stood too still during an earthquake and wasn't found for 3 days. They say his feet were fused to the stone, though I've never asked anyone who would know for certain. I take my broom from the west alcove, the bristles worn and softened, stitched with thread that came not from Crete, but farther east. I don't know how I know that, but the weave speaks of foreign hands. As I sweep the threshold, bits of last night's dust flutter up like tiny spirits too tired to rise. The sun is slow today, lazy behind the hills. I walk toward the east passage, the one beneath the mural of the dolphins. The fish still smile, even though their paint is flaking. Every few weeks someone comes to retouch their teeth, but they never get the mouths quite right. The east passage bends in 5 slow curves, each one whispering like a breath caught in the throat. The 5th bend, my favorite, has a spot on the wall where the plaster never settled smooth. It bulges slightly, like the wall is hiding something, or swelling with a secret. I pause my broom there and press my fingers to it. It's warm, warmer than it should be, even with no sun on this side. I leave my hand just long enough to wonder. Who else has touched this? Who else felt the heat and said nothing? No one trains us for questions. We're taught to sweep, polish, and step quietly when the dancers pass. We are taught not to look the god in the eye, not even the carved one. But the god has many eyes, some in stone, some in fire, some, maybe, right here in the wall. The 4th corridor opens into the central courtyard, where light finally finds me. It's gold and slow, like honey poured over yesterday. The stones here are redder. This is where they pour the wine in ceremonies I'm not supposed to see, though I have. Twice. Once from a crack in the servant wall, and once when I was mistaken for someone braver. I hear the pigeon drums, little wooden clacks from the rooftop where the signalers practice their rhythms. It's said they can summon ships from the edge of the world with 4 beats and a pause. But this morning, it's just the 2-beat pattern. Waiting. Watching. I bend to sweep again, my fingers brushing a strange dark streak on the stone. Not blood, not paint, but something sticky and old. I try not to react. I've seen worse, or told myself I have. A pair of boys run by, laughing, delivery runners with cloth-wrapped scrolls under their arms. One of them, the smaller one, glances at me with eyes that flicker too quickly, as if seeing something just behind me. Then he's gone. I turn, slowly. Nothing. But there's a scent lingering in the air now. Not incense, not dung smoke. Something like burnt feathers and pine resin. And underneath it, a faint trace of salt. Not from the sea. I sweep harder than needed, letting the strokes form patterns, the kind the scribes call accidental geometry. One time, a visiting priest saw my sweeping marks and called it sacred spiral logic. I didn't understand the words, but the way he said them made my skin want to shiver off. There's a line between order and obsession here. You can cross it with a single misplaced broom stroke. I've come close. I think I did once. No one said anything, but for 2 days after, my chamber floor stayed dry, even when everyone else's ran with condensation. I think someone was watching. I think they liked what they saw. This morning, this day, it's different. Not louder, not stranger even. But the quiet feels heavier. The kind of stillness that waits for a name to be spoken, or for a mistake to be made. And yet, I feel it. Something underfoot. Beneath the dust, beneath the stone, moving. Only once. A small shift, like the ground remembering. But it was enough. The bread is stale this morning. Not in a bad way, just still. Hard edges, soft middle. I chew slowly, letting it dissolve beneath my tongue while leaning against the wall beneath the fig tapestry. The cloth hangs lower than it used to. Either it's sagging, or the wall behind it is rising. I tear a piece of bread, dip it in the olive mash someone left uncovered. The salt has gathered at the edges. I taste the sun, but also something bitter clinging to the skin of the olives. Not poison, but something preserved too long. We've all learned how to swallow without asking. In the dining alcove, the others eat without speaking. Most are still waking, faces puffy with sleep, hair pressed into strange symbols by their mats. I watch a beetle crawl across the lip of the grain bowl. No one notices, or they pretend not to. A sign, maybe, or a test. No one touches the fruit today. I finish eating quickly and wipe my hands on the edge of my shift. The bread left a dusting of crumbs like tiny stones, like offerings. I sweep them into my palm and scatter them near the hearth, quietly. I don't know why I do this. Maybe it's habit. Maybe someone told me once, and I forgot the words, but not the meaning. The corridor leading toward the ceremonial chambers is lit now, slanted gold lines spilling across the mosaic floor. I follow them like a trail. I've always found comfort in the way the light plays over these patterns. They shift with the hour, each sliver revealing something new in the stone. Animals, dancers, eyes. Sometimes I wonder if the eyes are new, if the mosaic remembers. Today I've been assigned to the lower hall near the blood chamber. That's not what it's called, of course. It's officially the inner basin of ritual waters, but we all call it the blood chamber, because the water's always red, always. The priests say it's wine, but I've spilled wine. Wine doesn't clot. As I approach, I pass a pair of dancers practicing turns in the courtyard. Their robes flutter like moth wings, flutter and fall, flutter and fall. One of them stumbles and laughs. The other doesn't. I move past them quickly, my broom held like a staff. Not for defense, just for presence, like something ancient to lean on. The hallway darkens, stone pressing in. A flickering torch at the end barely keeps the shadows back. This is the corridor lined with bull reliefs. Horns carved in pairs. One side chipped. No one repairs them. I think it's meant to look broken now. Intentional decay. Like the gods want us to remember that even they can be wounded. I reach the basin chamber and pause. The door is open. It shouldn't be. Usually they leave it closed until the cleansing rite is finished. But the bronze latch hangs loose, swinging slightly, clicking against the frame with a sound too much like teeth. I step in slowly. The basin is full. Still. Crimson surface, flat as glass. I stare at it a little too long. There are no ripples, not even from me. I crouch beside it and begin to sweep. The floor is smoother here, worn by centuries of sandals and silence. The dust gathers quickly, forming little moons around the stone inlays. That's when I see it. A single white feather on the floor beside the basin. Just one. Curved. Long. Clean. But there are no birds down here. None that live, at least. I pick it up. It's soft, lighter than air, almost warm. Not from the room, but from something else. I hold it to my palm, and for a moment, the blood in the basin reflects my face. Only not quite. My nose is thinner. My eyes are too wide. And there's something curled behind me, something horned. I blink. The basin ripples. Just once. I set the feather on the edge of the basin and continue sweeping. My broom strokes are quieter now, as if I'm trying not to wake something. The chamber smells of copper and smoke. Not heavy, but lingering, like a memory that hasn't been aired out. I hear a drip, then another. Not from the basin, from the ceiling. I glance up. No water, just stone. The drip continues. Behind me, the torch crackles louder, like it's being fed. I don't turn around. Instead, I gather the sweepings into a small pile, wrap them in the corner of my cloth, and tie it shut. I don't normally keep dust, but today feels different, like the dust knows something. As I stand to leave, my foot slips on something slick. I catch myself before I fall. Look down. A smear of red across the floor, still wet. But I hadn't touched the basin. I glance at my sandals. Clean. The smear curves across the floor in a crescent shape, like a horn, a broken one. There's a sound now, behind the wall. Faint, rhythmic, not drums, not wind, something thicker. A pulse. And then it stops. A cold breeze brushes my shoulder. I don't move. I whisper a word I don't recognize. It feels old in my mouth, like a taste I forgot I loved. I step back into the corridor. The door swings shut behind me, slowly, without sound. And in the dark beyond it, something exhales. Something that's been listening. The corridor moans when I step into it. Soft and long, like a deep breath drawn from the belly of the earth. The sound rolls down the hallway behind me, as if the walls themselves have lungs and I've just startled them awake. I pause. The air is warmer here. Not just warmer than outside, but warmer than it was a moment ago. I run my fingers along the wall. The stone is damp, and there's a strange hum beneath the surface, barely there, like a sleeping bee inside a jar. The fifth turning of this hallway leads to the East Hall. It's an older part of the complex, built when the stones were laid thicker and the ceilings lower. No one walks it unless they have to. I have to. My broom drags behind me with a dry rustle. Dust is thick here, untouched by the usual foot traffic. That alone is strange. These corridors are used for supply runs, ritual preparations, even wine storage. But today, no footprints mark the floor. Just mine. And something else. A trail. Faint. Curved. Like the sweep of a wide paw or a dragging cloth. It disappears before I can track it, vanishing beneath a crack in the stones. The old ones say the earth moves under Crete like a dream trying to remember itself. Sometimes it forgets what it built. I begin to sweep, the bristles stirring not just dust, but something that smells like old parchment and wet leaves. My breath fogs slightly, which shouldn't happen. Not here, not now. I glance at the torch mounted in the wall niche. It flutters once, then steadies. There's something odd about this section, not in what it contains, but in what it lacks. There are no spiders here, and that's wrong. Every other corridor has them. Fat, slow ones that hang like sleepy thoughts in the corners. But not here. Not a single thread. Just clean stone, dust, and silence too large for the space. I hear the moan again, fainter now, coming from ahead or behind. It's hard to tell. I keep sweeping. A bit of broken pottery catches my eye. Not unusual, but this shard is different. It's glazed in a style I haven't seen before. Cobalt swirls that look like waves turning into eyes. I pocket it. Not out of greed. Just, it feels like something I'll need later. A few more steps and I reach the archway into the East Hall. I stop. There's someone standing in the center of the room. Their back is turned, robed, motionless. I blink. They're gone. The space is empty. Completely. The torchlight flickers across empty benches and the echo of what might have been chanting, still clinging faintly to the ceiling. I step in. The East Hall is known for its acoustics. Some say the builders carved sound into the very stone. If you speak here, your words stay longer than you mean them to. I say nothing. My broom brushes across something soft. I look down. Feathers. 3 of them this time. All black. Matte. Not oily like a raven's, but dull, like smoke hardened into shape. One lies across a small indentation in the floor I never noticed before. A worn depression, perfectly round. Not part of the mosaic. I touch it. Cold. And then, I hear it again. That same moan. Longer this time. Sadder. It's not the wind. It's too steady. Too personal. I glance toward the eastern wall. There's a mural there. One I've passed many times without looking too closely. A painted bull, horns forward, nostrils wide, eyes human. Beneath it, a line of dancers with raised hands, curved backs, leaping like waves. But there's something off about them. One dancer, second from the right, has no face. None. Just smooth plaster, repainted again and again, but never corrected. When I was small, someone told me that dancer was never meant to be human. I never asked what that meant. Now I can't stop staring at it. I sweep my way across the chamber, the sound of bristles soft as breath. My foot knocks something, a small wooden disc. I crouch. It's carved with a spiral on one side and a bull's eye on the other. I flip it once. Spiral. Flip again. Eye. I don't put it down. I slide it into my cloth pouch, next to the pottery shard. There's a part of me, deep, quiet, that knows I shouldn't be doing this. Not today. Not in this hall. But I can't stop. It's not curiosity. It's gravity. Something is pulling me inward. I take another few steps and feel the floor shift slightly beneath me. Not collapse, not crumble, just yield. A subtle give, like standing on breath. The moan returns. Closer now. Not around me, but below. I crouch again and press my ear to the floor. There's something moving under it. Not rats, not water, something slower, larger, rhythmic, like walking. No, like pacing, back and forth, trapped, waiting. My breath catches. I press my hand flat on the stone. It's warmer here. Not burning, but living. There's a thud, very faint. Then another. I can't tell if it's beneath the floor or inside my chest. I rise slowly, careful not to break the spell. My broom in one hand, my other touching the mural wall. I slide my fingers along the edge of the dancer with no face and feel a crack, a hairline seam. Not new, but not ancient either. I lean closer, heart hammering. Someone repaired this wall. Recently. Why? And why here? That moaning sound returns, but this time it doesn't fade. It grows, rises, thickens the air like syrup. I step back, afraid to turn my back on the wall. I leave the East Hall with a pace that's not quite running. I don't look over my shoulder, not even once. And still, I feel watched, not by eyes, by memory. Someone, something remembers me. And I still don't know how it knows my name. The wall exhales again, just as I reach the edge of the corridor. This time I'm sure of it. Not a breeze, not a draft. It's warm, slow, and smells faintly of burnt cedar and something old, like forgotten breath. I glance behind me, nothing moves. The East Hall has gone still again. The kind of stillness that makes your ears invent sounds just to feel the weight of it. I keep walking, faster now, but careful not to run. We're not supposed to run. Not in these halls. Running attracts attention, from people and from things you can't name without consequences. I take the long bend past the Griffin mural, the one where the paint never peels. I've always found that strange. Every other wall in the palace fades, cracks, flakes with time. But this Griffin, still sharp, still glowing, like it was painted this morning. Its beak is open just a fraction. I've never noticed that before. I stop. Beneath the creature's wing, a thin seam in the plaster catches the torchlight. A vertical hairline split, the kind you wouldn't see unless you'd swept this corridor 100 times. Which I have. I step closer, brush my fingers over it. The plaster is warm. Warmer than stone should be. Warmer than me. I press my palm flat against it. There. Again. That exhale. Soft and low, like a sigh through teeth. And something else. A vibration. Faint, but present. Not enough to shake. Just enough to remind me there's something alive behind this wall. Not animal, not human, but old. The kind of old that makes your bones ache in sympathy. I take a step back, suddenly aware of the silence around me. Not just quiet, complete absence. No footsteps, no whispers from the upper levels, no creak of wood or drip of water. Nothing. Even my breath feels muffled. I lean in again, place my ear against the seam. I hear breathing. Not my own. Steady, slow, not panicked or sharp. Just tired. I want to call out. Say something. Anything. But the words don't come. My mouth opens, but no sound follows. It's not fear. It's something else. Like reverence or recognition. Instead, I whisper the only word that feels right. Are you still here? The wall stays still. The breath stops. And then softly, almost too soft to believe. Yes. I jerk back. Heart thudding. But there's no echo. No proof. I wait. Nothing more. My hands are shaking now, just a little. I grip the broom like a staff, like it might protect me from stone and shadow alike. I glance around. Still no one. Still alone. If this is a game, it's one the palace plays well. I turn to walk away, but a flicker catches my eye. Just to the left of the griffin's talon, a small painted spiral, almost invisible unless you know where to look. But I didn't know it was there until now. I reach toward it, and as I do, the wall exhales again. But this time it's different. It feels like recognition. A sigh you give when a memory finally returns, bitter, beautiful, incomplete. I lower my hand. Something tells me I've been here before. Maybe not in this life. Maybe not even in a way memory can hold. But something under my skin knows these stones, knows what waits beyond them. I begin to walk again, down the corridor that leads toward the storage alcoves. The floor here is uneven, and there's a spot where the stone dips, as if something heavy was dragged across it. We used to joke that it was the mark of a god's sleep, the groove of his body burned into the earth. I no longer think it was a joke. As I walk, I hear a noise, sharp, metallic, distant. A chain? No. A bell. One of the old offering bells, maybe. But those haven't been used in seasons. Not since the accident in the fire hall. The noise fades. I reach the fork in the corridor and stop to rest. My hand brushes the wall and it hums again. This time, not in warning. It almost feels like a heartbeat. Not mine. I take the right path, toward the central pillar chamber. We aren't supposed to clean here alone. It's a place of symbols, sacred ones etched into the base of the great supporting column. Some say it holds up the weight of memory itself. Others say it holds something down. When I enter, the air changes, thickens. It smells of copper and crushed herbs. The floor sparkles faintly, fine dust mixed with something crystalline. I crouch and swipe a finger through it. It shimmers like mica. But the particles cling to my skin longer than they should, like they don't want to leave. I shake them off and begin to sweep, slow circles at first, then lines, then spirals. The pattern happens without thinking. My hands just know. And then, without warning, my broom catches on something, a small bump in the floor. I kneel to inspect it. It's a tile, different from the rest. Duller, older, cracked. I tap it. It sounds hollow. But when I lean down and place my ear to it, no echo, no sound at all, only pressure, rising. I pull away quickly, stand up too fast. The room spins, just for a moment, and then I hear it again, that exhale. But this time, it's not behind the wall, it's behind me. I turn slowly. Nothing there. Nothing I can see. But the air is pressed close now, thick with breath not mine. And from somewhere near the center pillar, I swear I hear it again. My name. But not quite. It's my name. Spoken in a voice I used to know. I don't respond. I don't even breathe. The name, my name, or almost my name, still hums in the space behind my ears, like a note struck too softly to fade. It's not the sound that unnerves me, but the familiarity of it, as if it's been spoken before, not today, not aloud, but somewhere inside me, like the voice knew me before I knew myself. I stand motionless in the center pillar chamber, broom gripped tight in my hand. The torchlight flickers across the symbols etched into the stone. One of them catches my eye, a coiled horn wrapped in flame. I've swept this chamber dozens of times, but I've never noticed that mark. Or maybe I've seen it every day, and only now understand what it means. It's not decoration. It's warning. The air grows warmer the longer I stand still, not like heat from a fire, but like breath building up in a closed space. I wipe sweat from my neck and realize my hands are trembling, not with fear exactly, but with pressure. Like something in me is cracking open. Behind the pillar, shadows shift where they shouldn't. I sweep. It's the only thing I can do. I return to the motion, letting the bristles drag softly across the floor in deliberate circles, anchoring me. But with every circle, the room feels older, not aged, just deeper, as if I'm standing closer to the beginning of something than I should be. My broom catches again, this time on something hard. I crouch. It's bone, small, polished, probably animal, but not broken. It's been placed. There's a mark on it, like someone kissed it with ash. I leave it where it is. I glance upward toward the ceiling vault. It's dark up there, ribbed with ancient beams. One of the cross beams holds a set of hooks. I always assumed they were for ceremonial cloths, but now I wonder, were they always empty? Or have I just never been here when they weren't? There's a sound behind me. No footsteps, just displacement, like something heavy shifting its weight in another room. I glance at the entrance, still empty, and yet, the doorframe seems darker than it should be, as if something is leaning there, watching, holding its breath, waiting for mine. I move to leave, but a voice stops me. Not a word, just a sound. Low, rough, thick with age. It doesn't come from a mouth. It comes from the stone. I freeze. The floor beneath my feet hums softly, like a warning or a heartbeat. And then I see them. Burn marks. Not fresh. Not old either. Blackened crescents along the tile edges, as if something with hooves and heat had walked this way recently. They form a path around the pillar, but no one else has been here. No offerings were scheduled. No processions passed through today. The scent returns. Charred wood, oil, and something sweeter beneath. Spiced resin, maybe, but deeper, like dried fruit that's been left in smoke. I follow the prints with my eyes, not my feet. They lead behind the pillar, to the wall. And there, low to the floor, is a shape I hadn't noticed before. An arch, no taller than my shoulders, covered partially by hanging cloth. The edges are burned. The fabric curls inward, as if drawn toward something warmer than the air. I approach, kneel. The archway leads to a narrow tunnel, too low to walk through without crawling. The floor inside is stone, worn smooth, not by shoes, but by knees. Something moves inside. A rustle, a breath. I don't enter. Not yet. Instead, I reach into my pouch and pull out the pottery shard, the one with the cobalt eye. It glints in the torchlight. I whisper, almost involuntarily, "Do you know me?" The shard stays still, but the tunnel exhales, and something inside answers, not in words, but in memory. I remember running, not as a child, not even in this body, but as something faster, stronger. Through these halls, but they were different then, lit by fire and song, marked by gold. I remember laughter that wasn't mine, and a crown of woven reeds that smelled like lemon leaves. Then it's gone. I drop the shard. It clinks against the stone and rolls slightly into the tunnel. I don't reach for it. Not yet. Instead, I sit back on my heels, breathe slowly. Let my ears adjust to the silence. But it's not silent. Not really. There's a rhythm behind the stillness, not drums, not chants. A hooved step. Drag, step, drag. And beneath it, something wet, like breath against clay. I rise, suddenly feeling as though I've been here too long. The torch behind me sputters once. I turn, half expecting to see someone, anyone, at the entrance. There's no one. But the air is charged now, heavy with choice. I know this. If I step into that tunnel, I won't be sweeping anymore. I won't be anything I understand. The broom in my hand will no longer be a tool. It'll be a tether or a weapon. I leave the chamber slowly, trying not to show my back to the wall. My steps are careful, deliberate. I don't want to disturb whatever silence I haven't yet broken. Outside the door, the corridor feels normal again. The air is cooler. The dust smells familiar. But something follows me. Not footsteps, not shadows. A presence. It doesn't touch. It doesn't speak. But it's remembering me. Or waiting for me to remember it. And I still don't know what it is I once promised. The scribe sits cross-legged near the olive jar, just outside the copper scroll room. I pass him every few days, but today he looks different. Still the same narrow shoulders, same amber-stained fingers, but his eyes, they don't blink. Not once, even as I sweep past. He's etching spirals again. Not words, not pictures, just loops, over and over, into clay so soft it seems wet, though the air around him is dry as baked earth. I slow my pace. "Why do you never blink?" I ask before I can stop myself. He doesn't answer, doesn't even turn, just keeps carving those spirals. But then he hums, a low tune, off-key, wavering, familiar, and not from this place. It's an old melody. I don't know how I know it, but it rolls through me like it belongs. Like I used to hum it while shelling lentils with someone who called me by a name I don't remember anymore. I pause. The broom in my hand rests lightly against the floor. The dust at my feet swirls as if stirred by the song itself. Then the scribe finally speaks, still not looking at me. "You're walking in a circle you haven't drawn yet." His voice is papery, cracked, like parchment left too long in smoke. "What does that mean?" I ask. He doesn't reply, just smooths over the clay with his thumb and begins a new spiral, slower this time. A pause between each curve, like breath between memories. I keep walking, unsettled. The corridor beyond the scroll room leads past the old armory, a room sealed since the fire 3 summers ago. No one goes near it. Yet as I pass, I hear a soft clink from inside. Not metal on metal, more like metal settling, or sighing. I step closer. The door is soot-streaked, edges melted slightly from the heat that night. My reflection swims across the blackened bronze, distorted by age and damage. For a brief moment, I think I see someone standing behind me. But when I turn, the corridor is empty. I back away, carefully. At the far end, sunlight slants in through a high window. Not direct. Just enough to remind me what time it is. Mid-afternoon, maybe. The sun does not keep perfect time here. The palace twists it, stretches it. Sometimes it feels like the day is watching you decide how long it will be. I pass the chamber of tools, my usual place of comfort. Brooms, rags, oilcloths, jars of chalk and pigment. Here, the world makes sense. Here, things behave as they should. But today, something's off. One of the drawers is open. I never leave them open. I crouch and peek inside. A spool of golden thread lies unspooled across the bottom. Not twine, not rope. Gold. Real. Shimmering like morning on the sea. And it's wrapped around something. I lift it gently. It's a bone. Thin. Curved. Polished smooth. Human? Number 2 light. But not animal either. Bird, maybe? Except it has symbols carved into it. I don't recognize them. They look like claws dancing, or roots stretching. I don't touch the thread. Just close the drawer slowly, as if I've seen something I was never meant to see. The scribe's humming still echoes in my ears, though he is far behind me now. I walk down the next hall. My favorite, the one with the blue tiles. They catch the light in ways that make them seem wet. It always smells of lavender here, even though no one grows it nearby. The tiles begin to change midway down. shift. The patterns no longer align. Squares turn to diamonds. Some curve into spirals that were never there before. I crouch and touch one. It's solid, warm, and when I stand again, the hallway feels longer. It is longer. A door that should be near is nowhere in sight. Only more corridor, more tile, more silence. I grip my broom tighter. It feels heavier now, like it knows something I don't. I walk on, and then I see it. At the end of the hall, just visible where the light fades into torch shadow, a single footprint. Not mine. It's bare, deep, pressed into the blue tile like the stone gave way willingly. The toes are longer than they should be, and there's something behind it. Another, fainter, clawed. I take a breath, not sure if I should follow, but something in me already knows I will. As I near the footprint, a whisper brushes the back of my neck. It's not a word. It's more like a sigh that used to be language. I turn quickly. Nothing. And yet, the footprint is gone now. Only smooth tile where it had been seconds before. I look ahead. A new door stands open. I know that door. It leads to the incense chamber, a room that hasn't been used in over a year, ever since the acolyte vanished. They found his robe folded neatly, but no trace of him. No ash, no blood. Just a line burned into the stone, curved like a serpent curling in sleep. That line is still there. I see it now, glinting faintly in the gloom. I should turn back. I should sweep another corridor. But my feet move forward, and the scent of something forgotten, resin, smoke, and rain on dry earth, fills my chest like memory. The scribe's voice echoes one last time in my mind. You're walking in a circle you haven't drawn yet. And I realize, I think I've been here before. I just don't remember when, or who I was, or what I left behind. But whatever it was, it remembers me. The incense chamber has no torchlight, no fire, and yet it glows, dimly, from nothing I can see. Not gold, not white, not even real light perhaps. Just an awareness of shapes and corners as if the room is remembering itself in front of me. The floor is cleaner than it should be. No dust, no soot, no ash, as if someone sweeps it daily. But I know no one does. The scent is thick, sweet, musky, ancient. My lungs ache slightly as I breathe it in, but I don't stop. It smells like things long buried. Old fig bark, charred myrrh, crushed lily bulbs, and the unmistakable trace of goat blood steeped in sandalwood. Ritual layers, burnt prayers, they cling to my throat. And then I see it. A thread, coiled, golden, perfect, right at my feet. But I didn't bring it in. I never carry thread. I kneel slowly and reach out. It doesn't move, doesn't flutter. But the moment my fingers graze it, something flares behind my eyes. A vision, brief and soft, like a memory caught in smoke. Stone stairs, a hand, not mine. Laughter echoing upward, and something turning in the dark beneath us. Watching. I blink. The thread is gone, vanished between one breath and the next. I remain kneeling longer than I need to, uncertain whether to rise. The chamber feels alive now, not just occupied, awake, like I've stirred something from deep slumber, not in the walls, but in the very rules of the place. Space folds here, time loosens, and me, I'm no longer certain which way I came in. There's a doorway behind me. Was that there before? First turn. Yes, sort of. It's not quite a door, more like a fold in the stone. The color shifts slightly around it, as if the stone is pretending to stay still. I stand, walk toward it. As I cross the threshold, my broom slips from my hand. I let it fall. It lands silently, gently, and I walk on, empty-handed now. The next corridor is narrower, smoother, and somehow colder, though I feel no breeze. The stone here isn't like the rest of the palace. It's darker, flecked with green, like moss frozen in time. I touch the wall. It hums. But it's not humming alone. The sound comes in pairs. A low vibration from the stone, and a higher, more delicate sound from inside me. My bones number my breath. My body is matching the frequency of the corridor. I should be afraid. I'm not. I take slow steps, each one echoing not behind me, but ahead. Like the hall is reacting before I move, a kind of pre-memory rippling outward. Then I see it. A mirror. No, not a mirror. Just highly polished obsidian set into the wall. But the reflection is clear enough to fool the eye. I step closer and freeze, because the figure in the glass isn't quite me. It looks like me, stands like me, tilts its head when I do. But something is off. Its eyes are deeper, older, like caverns filled with dried salt, and its hands are smeared with something dark. I hold up my own, clean. The reflection smiles faintly. Mine does not. And then, without warning, the image blinks, and I don't. I step back, fast. The obsidian stays blank now, just stone, as if nothing happened. I turn to leave, but my heel catches something soft. Fabric. I look down. A ribbon of golden thread tangled loosely with a piece of crimson cloth. I pick it up. The cloth is silk, old, torn at one edge, as if ripped away. There's embroidery along the border, symbols I don't recognize, curved lines, eye shapes, a creature with two heads, both bowed. Something inside me whispers, "This was mine." I drop it. I shouldn't have touched it. I keep moving, the corridor widening now into a small chamber I've never seen before. Or maybe I have, but only in dreams. There's a basin in the center, carved from the same dark stone as the corridor. Inside it, nothing visible. But the air above it shimmers, like heat rising off pavement. I lean in, no scent, no warmth, just shimmer. Then, a flash. Images, fast and sharp, a boy screaming into the dark, a spiral drawn in ash, a hand gripping a torch, shaking, and a single word, carved into stone over and over. Remember. I stumble back. The basin is still, the shimmer gone. I turn to leave, and nearly trip over something at the threshold. Another thread. This one longer, uncoiled, trailing forward into the next hall, almost inviting. I stare at it, not moving. That's when I realize this thread isn't new. It's dusty, like it's been waiting for me to notice. And yet, it's moving. Just slightly, a tremble, a twitch, like it's breathing. I step over it, but not before I whisper, "I haven't drawn the circle yet." And the corridor answers, though only in silence. In that silence, one thought remains. If this thread wasn't mine, whose was it first? The corridor curves now, not sharply, but in a slow, deliberate arc, as if it's wrapping around something large and waiting. I follow the golden thread as it winds ahead of me, silent and stubborn, never pulling tight, never slack. Just there. A path that doesn't need permission. The air grows cooler, not like wind or shadow, but like breath that's been held too long. My own feels heavier now, each inhale edged with stone and memory. I pass an alcove with no markings, just a hollow in the wall. I glance inside, empty, but something stares back. Not a figure, not a face, just a sensation, like eyes without form, like the air remembers me in this exact pose, this exact step. I turn quickly and keep walking. Around the next bend, the corridor opens into a narrow atrium I've never seen before. Small windows high above let in light from somewhere. Maybe the surface, maybe not. The glow is soft and slanted, dusty with particles that float too slowly, like time is thicker here. There's a cistern in the center, dry, or so I think. I kneel beside it, press my hand to the rim. The stone is wet. I pull back quickly. The moisture isn't cold. It's warm, like skin. And then I hear it. A whisper. Not from outside, from inside the cistern. It says my name, backwards, and wrong. It curls around the vowels, misses the consonants. A warped echo, like the palace is trying to remember how to call me but can't quite get it right. The voice is too old, too tired. I lean closer, heart stuttering. The whisper stops. Instead, the echo of my own breathing returns. But it's not matching me. It's slower, deeper. I move back, careful not to fall. The golden thread trails right to the edge of the cistern, then vanishes over the side, into the dark. I don't follow it. Not yet. Instead, I glance around the atrium. The walls are decorated, not with frescoes, but with faint carvings. Hard to see unless you squint. Spirals, eyes, horns, and something else. A figure repeated over and over. Small body, large head, arms lifted. No face, only the empty oval where one should be. I brush the stone lightly with my fingertips. The carvings feel deeper than they look, as if they were worn in, not etched, formed by centuries of invisible hands. One of the figures has something drawn beside it, 3 small lines. I recognize them. I saw the same lines burned into the edge of the robe I found near the incense chamber, but I didn't tell anyone. I wonder now if I ever had the chance. A low rumble travels through the floor, gentle like a sigh, but it shakes the dust from the windowsills above. The palace is shifting again. It does that. Not always in stone, sometimes in memory. I rise to leave, but something stops me. There's a sound, a soft, melodic humming. I freeze. It's the same tune the scribe was humming hours ago, the broken, off-key melody, but now it's sung by a child's voice. I turn slowly. The atrium is empty, but the tune lingers, drifting down from above like mist. I glance up. The windows are too narrow for a person, too high for sound. And yet, the voice comes from somewhere. It stirs something deep inside me, a memory that isn't mine. I see a room with red walls, a bowl of grain, a feather dipped in oil, a lullaby whispered over a body wrapped in cloth. My hands fold the corners of the fabric, carefully, reverently. I don't know whose hands they are, but they tremble. The vision fades as quickly as it came. I step back from the cistern and notice a trail of water now, thin, glistening, leading away from the base and disappearing into a crack in the floor. It shouldn't be there. There is no water in the basin. I glance again. It's dry. Perfectly. I follow the crack, not because I want to, but because it pulls at me. My legs feel hollow, like they're moving under someone else's instructions. The golden thread reappears ahead of me, coiled once around a fallen stone, and beside it, a shell. A small, spiral shell, polished from the sea. But we are far inland. The palace is miles from the shore. I crouch, pick it up, hold it to my ear. Nothing. No sea, no waves, but a whisper. Faint, crooked. It says, "You were meant to stay forgotten." I drop it. The sound lingers. I keep moving. The corridor shifts again, becomes darker, narrower. The stones here are damp, almost glistening. I pass another door, half broken, hanging from one hinge. On it, carved deeply, "Do not enter with your name." I step past it quickly. What name would I enter with anyway? There's a weight on my shoulders now. Not physical, more like a layer of dust that's settled on something I used to be. The thread leads to a new doorway, a small one, half my height, just tall enough for a child to walk through without stooping. I stare. Behind it, darkness, but not the kind that feels empty. This one feels full. Of what, I can't yet say. I lean closer. Inside, I hear breathing, not mine, not human, and yet I know it. The rhythm of it, the shape of it. It's the same breath that used to rock me to sleep long ago. And then I remember. There was one door I never opened, until now. The doorway stands just tall enough to invite a memory through. One of those childhood ones, soft around the edges, that feels more like someone else's dream than your own. I crouch slightly and step inside, though the dark beneath the lintel presses close against my shoulders. The stone brushes my arms like a breathless warning. My foot touches something different. Not cold tile, not polished stone, but packed earth. Damp, cool, alive. I pause. There are no torches here, no glow, but I can still see, somehow. Dim outlines, curves in the wall, the hint of spirals. The golden thread has vanished again, absorbed by the dirt floor or perhaps by the space itself. I reach for the wall, needing to ground myself. The surface is warm, not evenly, but pulsing, like a vein. I pull back. Something in this room is listening. The passage narrows, then opens abruptly into a chamber. Circular, low ceiling. The air inside hums gently, as if wrapped in the residue of something sacred or secret. In the center of the room stands a single door. Smooth, stone, no keyhole, no handle, no symbols, but it hums, just like the wall. I walk around it slowly, trying not to make a sound. My feet scuff softly over the packed dirt. Each step echoes differently. Some light, some heavy, some hollow. The door's surface shimmers slightly in the low light. Not visibly, but in sensation. Like the way your eyes feel after staring too long into sunlight and blinking back patterns. I reach out, press my palm against it, and the stone yields, not opens, not moves, but accepts. It's warm beneath my hand, too warm. And I realize I'm sweating, though the air is still. My name drifts through my mind again, but backwards and wrong, like the echo from the cistern, twisted by time or by intention. I step back. That's when I notice it. The bowl at the foot of the door. It wasn't there a moment ago, carved from onyx, smooth, deep, and empty, or almost empty. At its center, a coin, thin, irregular, bronze or maybe something older. There's no face on it, no inscription, only a spiral. I know that spiral. The scribe was drawing it in clay. The mosaic in the East Hall formed it in tile. It's not just a pattern, it's a language. I reach for the coin, but before I can touch it, something shifts in the room. A low hum, like a deep flute pressed into the belly of the earth. Then silence. And then a breath. From behind the door, a long, exhaled breath. I freeze. Not because I'm afraid, though I should be, but because the breath sounds exactly like mine. Same rhythm, same pause, same hesitation. It matches me again. Then comes a sound I can't name, like antlers scraping over slate, like bone dragged across memory. It stops. A whisper follows. Not a word, just a feeling shaped like one. I kneel by the bowl. The coin still rests there, motionless. But now I see another shape in the dust beside it. A second spiral, drawn by a finger. Number A claw. I stand again and press my fingers to the door. There's a vibration beneath my skin now. Not from the door, but from me. My body responding to whatever is on the other side. I don't push. Not yet. Instead, I place both palms flat against the stone and close my eyes. And that's when it begins. Visions, fast, sharp. A man dancing in firelight, blood on his feet, a bull made of shadow and honey, rising from a pit, a child held over a flame. Not screaming, a circle of women with no mouths, singing anyway, a mask carved from wood that smells like grief. I open my eyes. The room has not changed, but the bowl is gone. Only the coin remains, resting in a perfect circle of undisturbed dust. I take it. The moment my fingers close around it, the stone beneath me grows warmer. The door doesn't open. It accepts. I feel it in my jaw, in the base of my spine. It's not a barrier. It's a mirror. And I'm not supposed to go through it. I'm supposed to remember what's behind it. I whisper the first true thing I've said all day. I've been here before. The room answers with silence, but not emptiness. And then, I hear something else. Scratching. Not near. Below. Like something pacing in the level beneath me. A slow, rhythmic movement. Step, drag, but softer than before. More tired. I lower myself to the floor, press my ear to the ground. There it is again. Breathing. Quieter now, but steady. Patient. The coin in my hand hums once, then stills. The door in front of me remains closed, but I know now. It's not a door in the way we understand. It's a question, and I haven't answered it yet. I rise slowly, and for the first time today, I speak aloud. Not to the room, to whatever is beneath it, to the forgotten God whose footsteps I've been sweeping clean. Why haven't you left? The answer doesn't come in words, but it comes. The air tightens, the dust lifts, and from behind the stone, something leans forward. Something old enough to remember me, but still unsure if I'm ready to remember it. The path away from the door doesn't feel like retreat. It feels like being released. Like the room lets go of me rather than the other way around. My feet don't echo this time. No sound, no trail, no golden thread. Just me and whatever I'm carrying now. Inside my chest, under my ribs, behind my eyes. I retrace the corridor, but it isn't the same. The walls lean closer. The temperature drops. The scent of incense has thinned into something more metallic. Iron and salt, maybe. Or rusted copper scraped clean with a wet cloth. I pause at the curved junction that leads back toward the upper halls. The air here feels thinner, but familiar. I grip the wall for balance. The stone here pulses, no longer just warm, but slow and steady, like a heartbeat the palace has decided I can hear now. That's when someone brushes past me, not hard, just the soft nudge of cloth against skin. I whip around. No one. But the scent that follows is unmistakable. Orange blossom and ash, and underneath it, clay, perfume. My mother wore that. Not the one who raised me, not the one who taught me to sweep, the one I only remember in fragments, salt on her fingers, a broken comb, humming in the dark when the rains came early. That scent is gone before I can breathe it twice. But something inside me opens. Not a memory. A sense. I walk on, quicker now. The corridor bends and narrows before spitting me out into the storeroom wing, lined with amphorae and faded baskets, a place I've always known. Only it's different now. Too quiet. Even for here. And then I see it. A figure. Still as a statue crouched between two tall jars. Their back is to me. Their posture familiar. Robe light gray, hood low. I approach carefully. The floor creaks under my step, and they vanish. Not like a person fleeing, like smoke undone by a gust. Only the scent remains. Orange blossom, ash, clay. I reach the spot where they knelt. There's a mark on the ground. 2 half-moons side by side, like knees, and something else. A small circle drawn in dust, pressed by a finger or claw. Spiral center, radiating lines, like a sun that forgot how to rise. I hear movement now, faint, hurried, down the hallway to the left. A glimpse of fabric disappearing around the bend. I follow, quick, cautious steps. The hall widens into the old archives, a place mostly abandoned. Piles of cracked tablets, unlabeled scrolls, things that no longer matter to anyone except the dust. I turn the corner. No one. But something lies in the center of the room. A strip of fabric, crimson, frayed at one end. I crouch and touch it. Same cloth I found coiled with the golden thread earlier. Same embroidery along the border. Only now I can see the symbol more clearly. It isn't just a creature with 2 heads. It's a map. One head faces forward, the other back, and in the middle, a single unblinking eye. I fold the cloth and tuck it into my wrap. I don't know why, only that it belongs to me, or I to it. That's when the air shifts again. Cool, sharp, weighted. I feel it before I hear it. Someone watching. I stand, scan the shelves. Nothing. But the pressure remains, like being read. I move toward the western door. It opens without sound and reveals another corridor I've never seen. Narrow, red-lit. The walls glow faintly, not from torchlight, but from pigment. Painted walls, figures dancing, but not in joy, in agony. Bent backs, raised hands, open mouths, all of them painted facing away from me. And in the center, higher than the rest, a bull-headed figure, not charging, just standing, waiting, eyes empty. I walk slower now. My feet begin to ache. This corridor curves and dips, like a serpent curled around itself. And at the very end, just as the light fades, a door, wooden, unlike the others, old, warped, faded symbols carved into its center. I can't read them, but I recognize them. They match the coin still in my pouch. I reach into the cloth and pull it free. The coin hums in my palm. The door opens before I touch it. Inside, a chamber lit by nothing. And yet, I can see a small stool, a shelf of bowls, and a mirror, shattered. Fragments of it lie on the floor in perfect pattern, as if it didn't fall, as if it was broken on purpose. I kneel beside it, and my reflection stares up from 5 different angles. Each one of me is slightly wrong. Older, younger, wounded, smiling, empty, and then one moves. Only one. The others remain frozen. But this one, this reflection, blinks, and its eyes are not mine. They are deeper, amber, and filled with pity. I lean closer. It mouths something. 3 words, but I can't hear them. I read its lips. I think it says, "You left me." I fall backward, heart pounding, and from somewhere behind me, a low voice answers, "You had to." First turn. But the room is empty again. Only the shattered mirror and me, and the knowledge that the voice wasn't a ghost. It was someone I knew, someone I promised I'd come back for, but never did. And now? Now I think they remember that promise better than I do. The mirror shards stay still now. No more blinking. No more lips forming half-forgotten truths. Just fractured reflections and the thin golden thread of guilt tugging behind my ribs. I crouch and pick up the smallest piece, careful not to cut myself. It's cold. Colder than it should be. Colder than anything else in this place. I hold it to the light, or where light should be, and watch my own face twist into something unfamiliar. Not monstrous, just tired. older in the eyes than the skin around them allows. I place the shard in my pouch, next to the coin. I don't know why I'm collecting these things. Maybe they're parts of me I left behind. Maybe they're proof this happened. Maybe they're anchors. The doorway behind me hasn't closed, but the room feels tighter, the air thinner. It smells of old breath and dried tears, and something else. Rot. I step out quickly, back into the red-lit corridor. Only the light has changed. It's dimmer now, as though the walls are bleeding slower. And in that silence, I hear it again. Breathing. Close. I follow it. Not because I want to, but because I no longer believe turning around will help. The hallway curves, opens, into another room I've never entered, though I passed it often. The offering chamber. It's always locked. Today, the door hangs open, just slightly. Inside, it smells like salt and beeswax, and something worse. The air here is still. So still that it feels like touching cloth with your skin. In the center of the room is a stone table. Flat, low, bare, except for the bowl. At first glance, it looks ceremonial, shallow, wide. But as I step closer, I see what's inside. Eyes. Animal, I think. Round, wet, and not rotting. They blink at me, just once, then still again. I freeze. My breath catches in my chest. These aren't fresh, but they're not old either. They glisten like they were just placed here. There's no blood, no trace of the body they came from. Just the eyes. 7 of them, each staring in a different direction. None of them at each other. I reach for the bowl and stop halfway. My reflection stares up at me from the surface of one of the eyes, only it's not quite right. The head tilt is reversed, and my mouth doesn't move when I whisper, "What are you?" But the reflections does. A word forms, something ancient, something I don't know how to pronounce, but I feel it. It scrapes the inside of my memory like a name I tried to forget. Behind me, something shifts. First turn. A figure stands in the doorway. Still. Small. Cloaked. They lift a hand, slowly, like they mean no harm. But I can't see their face. I want to speak, but my throat won't open. Instead, I nod. And they do too. They walk toward the table. No sound from their feet. No rustle of fabric. Just presence. They stop beside the bowl. Reach out. Touch nothing. And speak. These are not offerings. They're memories that forgot who they belong to. The voice is neither male nor female. It carries an age I cannot measure. A sadness I recognize. I whisper, "Why show them to me?" They look at me, though I still cannot see their face. Because you were the one who left them behind. I want to protest. I don't remember doing that. I don't remember these eyes, or what they once saw. But something in me knows they're telling the truth. One of the eyes blinks again, and a tear slips out. The figure reaches into their robe and pulls out a cloth. Familiar. Red. Torn. They wipe the eye gently, then turn to me and hand me the cloth. I take it. It's warm, damp, smells like cedar and iron. I glance down. A new thread has unraveled from it. Golden. Of course. They speak again. You'll need it for what waits below. I don't ask where below is. I already know. I've always known. They step back, vanish without walking, like the dust swallowed them. I look at the eyes again. Only now, they're closed. All of them. As if they've finally been allowed to rest. I back away slowly, tucking the cloth into my pouch. The golden thread coils loosely, wrapping around the coin, the mirror shard, and the spiral shell I forgot I was still carrying. Everything feels heavier now. Not in weight, in meaning. As I exit the offering chamber, I glance down one of the side corridors. There's movement. A figure just turning the corner. For a heartbeat, I think it's the same cloaked person. But no. This one is taller. Familiar in a different way. I follow, silent. But the corridor ends in a blank wall. No door, no turn, no footprints. Just dust. Except, not quite. There's a mark in the wall. A spiral. Drawn in something darker than soot. I place my hand on it and hear a voice again. This time from inside me. You brought me here once, but you never came back. I leave my hand against the spiral on the wall, waiting for it to hum, to warm, to breathe. Anything to prove it's more than a mark. But it stays still, cool, as though it was made long ago and the memory of its meaning has dried up, leaving only a stain where something sacred used to be. Still, the voice lingers. It doesn't repeat itself, but it echoes. Not in the corridor, but in my chest. Like it settled there, curling between ribs, content to wait. I lower my hand and turn away. There's no passage here, no secret turn or door. But something tells me I'm not supposed to keep walking forward. Not this time. I look down, at the floor, and there, half concealed beneath a threadbare runner of red cloth I didn't notice before, barely a breath of fabric left intact, is a seam, a hairline gap between stones, a staircase, narrow, descending. I should be afraid. There's no torchlight, no invitation. But I remember something now. A game, played when I was small. We'd draw spirals in the dust, and the one in the center had to close their eyes and guess what the others whispered. We called it speaking to the god below, and I was always the one in the center, even when I didn't want to be. I lift the cloth and press my fingers into the gap. There's no handle, no latch, just pressure. The stones resist at first, then give. The door swings down, not open, revealing steps, crude, uneven, carved into the earth. The scent that rises is unmistakable. Wet stone, oil, old heat, and something deeper. Something that smells like forgetting. I descend slowly. The air closes around me, damp and thick. Each step feels heavier than the last. Not physically, but with intent. Like I'm being carried by the motion of memory, not muscle. The walls are close here, slick with condensation. I run my hand along one and feel tiny cuts in the stone. Marks etched by something sharp, repeating over and over. A pattern, the same spiral. Always spirals. Halfway down, the steps turn, and I lose all light behind me. Not even a glow remains. And yet, I can still see. Not with my eyes, with something deeper. There's a light in my chest now. Not bright, not blinding, but steady. It hums in rhythm with the coin in my pouch. The mirror shard grows cold. The cloth dampens again, though nothing touches it. I reach the bottom of the stairs and step into a new chamber. Round, low. The floor here is not stone. It's bone. Flat, pressed. Some too small to name, others long enough to guess. And in the center, a staircase I've never climbed. It spirals upward, tight, winding, slick with moisture. I step forward to approach it, and stop. It ends too soon. Just halfway up the chamber wall, it breaks off into nothing, a staircase that leads to a dead wall. But something about it, it calls. I place my foot on the first step. It holds. I climb slowly. 2 steps. 3. Each one echoes too loudly. On the 4th, the air shifts. A warmth behind me. I glance over my shoulder. There's someone at the bottom. Not cloaked, not shadowed, just watching. Their face isn't clear. It shifts when I look too long. But I know them. Not from this life. From a dream I once forgot to wake up from. They raise a hand, and the wall at the top of the staircase breathes, just once, inward, like it's tasting me. I take another step, and the wall pulses again. A line appears down its center, thin, straight. I reach the top step and touch it. Stone, cool, solid, but beneath it, warmth, a kind of pressure. It wants something. I reach into my pouch, pull out the coin, press it against the wall. Nothing. Then I press the mirror shard. Nothing again. The shell? Number. But when I remove the red cloth, the wall trembles, just slightly, and a whisper brushes my neck. This was where it began. The cloth warms in my hand, then cools. I hold it flat against the wall. For a moment it sticks, then falls, and the wall opens. No creak, no grind. It simply yields. And behind it, not another chamber, a corridor, one I've never seen, one made of something too dark to name. Not stone, not wood, something smoother, slicker, like old resin cured into shadow. The figure behind me hasn't moved, but I know they're still watching, not in judgment, in mourning. I step through the doorway, into the corridor, and the wall closes behind me. I am alone now, utterly. No light, no path, only breath, and the sound of something dragging in the distance. I walk forward, because backward no longer exists. And ahead, there's a sound, not footsteps, a bell, but it rings without making sound, and the vibrations crawl into my bones and ask, "Do you remember why you came?" The bell rings again, if you can call it that. There's no tone, no chime, just the sensation of something round and hollow vibrating inside me. Like memory shaking dust from old shelves, each step forward makes the feeling stronger, not louder, deeper. I reach for the wall, and for a moment I expect it to be warm like the others. But this isn't stone. It's smoother, cooler, not metal, not clay. It doesn't give under pressure. It listens. My hand against it feels like placing a thought into someone else's skull. And in that contact, I understand something. This corridor wasn't built. It was grown. Grown not from wood or muscle, but from something beneath memory. Dreams thickened into substance. The floor flexes slightly underfoot, not like a sponge, but like skin beneath armor. And yet, it holds me. The sound of the bell continues, pulsing in intervals I can't measure. Not regular, not chaotic. It rings in rhythm with something inside the walls. A heartbeat, or the echo of one that stopped long ago. The corridor narrows, slightly, enough to make me adjust my posture. The air is warmer again, moist, close. Not quite suffocating, but clingy, like breath shared between too few lungs. I stop at a curve in the wall where the vibrations intensify. There is no light here, but still I see. Ahead of me hangs a bronze bell, not suspended, floating, held by nothing, perfectly still. I approach it. Closer now, I see that the bell is cracked. A hairline fissure runs down one side, ending in a spiral notch at its base. It shouldn't be able to ring, but it does. Not with sound, with memory. When I'm within arm's reach, it pulses again. And this time, I'm inside the vision before I know what's happening. A courtyard filled with torchlight dancers leaping over bowls of flame, a circle drawn in blood. My own hands, younger, tying a ribbon to a bull's horn, a cry behind me I refuse to turn toward. The scene ends not with fading, but with rejection, like something spit me out. I fall to one knee, breath torn from my chest. The bell hangs silent now, but the crack glows faintly, golden. I rise slowly and reach into my pouch. The thread has come loose again, It coils softly around my wrist. I wrap it tighter, not to contain it, to feel anchored. That's when I notice the pattern around the base of the bell. Tiny carvings, barely there. Eyes, hundreds of them, some closed, some open. One, crying. A single tear inlaid with something dark. Obsidian? No, something older. I touch it, and the bell moves, just slightly. Not swinging, tilting, toward me. The moment it tilts, I feel a pressure in my ears, a soundless sound, a tone not heard but known. It settles in my throat. And I know now, I've rung this bell before. Not in this life, but once, long ago. I was chosen. I was afraid, but I rang it anyway. And something came. Behind the bell, a doorway forms. I blink, and it's already open. Not swung, parted, like flesh revealing bone. And inside, a room made of mirrors, shards, slivers, nothing whole. I enter slowly. My own face greets me from every angle, and none of them match. One smiles when I don't. One looks away. One weeps. One holds its breath. The last one whispers, "You shouldn't have looked away." First turn. Behind me, the corridor is gone. Only mirror, endless mirror, my own image fracturing with every breath. The golden thread glows faintly now. It leads through the room, hovering just above the floor, weaving between reflections that don't blink when I do. I follow it, and the floor beneath me shifts. Glass, cold. My footsteps leave no sound, but one of the reflections speaks again, not aloud, in my bones. "He's still waiting," I whisper back. "Who?" The mirror responds with movement. A figure, not mine. Larger, shadowed, bullheaded, but not the monster from myths. Taller, nobler, exhausted. He turns slowly. His eyes meet mine. And for a moment, I forget everything. The palace, the thread, the story. I only remember him and what I promised. I stumble forward, reaching, but the mirror cracks. Right between us. The reflection shatters. I fall to my knees. The thread wraps tighter around my hand, like it's afraid I'll let go. A new sound rises in the room. Not a bell. A heartbeat. Slow, wet, steady. I follow it, through another gap, into a hall with no mirrors, only walls that glisten. Here, the heartbeat lives, not in the walls, in the floor, and it's growing louder. It's not just waiting anymore, it's calling. The heartbeat thickens the air until it feels like walking through syrup. Every breath takes effort. Every blink is a choice. My hands tremble, not from fear, but from recognition. I've heard this sound before. Not here, not in this place, but in a dream I once carried for too long. The corridor ahead narrows again, but the walls widen in their presence. They breathe now, not visibly, but audibly. Stone inhaling, exhaling, slow, ancient. Like the mountain forgot it was ever meant to sleep. The heartbeat continues beneath my feet. Louder, not faster, just closer. I keep moving. The floor grows slick, not wet, greased somehow, oiled like altar stone before a sacrifice. The scent shifts again. Myrrh, charred barley, and something sour, like milk left too long in the sun. My stomach turns gently, respectfully. This is not a place for appetites. Ahead, a glow begins. Faint, reddish, not fire, not blood, something in between. A brazier, maybe? I step into a new chamber. Round again, everything here is round. Walls wrapped in spiral carvings, overlapping endlessly, until even the air feels coiled. In the center of the chamber, set into the floor, lies a circle of bronze. Perfect, polished, still. Above it hangs nothing. No chains, no ceiling beam, just the glow. It radiates from the bronze itself, pulsing with the heartbeat. I approach. There's something in the bronze. Reflected? Number trapped? A shape? Curled? Sleeping? Or pretending? I crouch beside it, trying not to blink. Its outline is indistinct. Smoke wrapped in metal, shadow frozen mid-movement. But then the glow shifts, and I see it more clearly. A figure, bull-headed, broad-shouldered, hands not hooves, eyes closed, body folded like grief. This is not a monster. This is something else, something sacred and forgotten. I reach toward the bronze. It's warm. Of course it is. The heartbeat lives here. Or maybe this is the heartbeat. My fingertips brush the metal, and the world ripples. A memory not mine, running through corridors with a torch. Laughter echoing behind me, a bowl of water turning to flame. My own face in a mirror, painted, masked, terrified. A promise made in whispers to something breathing in the dark. I pull back, breath shuddering. This is the center. I don't know how I know, but this is where it ends, or where it waits to begin again. The heartbeat slows, as if sensing my recognition. And from the bronze, a voice rises, not aloud, through my fingertips, through my spine. I never asked to be worshipped. I blink. Tears sting my eyes, though I don't remember starting to cry. The voice continues, soft and slow. I asked to be remembered. I whisper back, I didn't know. The response is immediate. You did. Once something inside my pouch shifts. The coin, the thread, the mirror shard, the cloth. All of it vibrates in harmony with the voice. I remove them one by one and lay them on the bronze. The shard glows first, then the thread. The cloth unfolds itself, the embroidered eye shimmering under the chamber's glow. Last is the coin. It hums once, spins, stops. The figure beneath the bronze breathes. Just once. The chamber tightens. The heartbeat speeds up, and then it stops. The silence is unbearable. I hold my breath, waiting, hoping, fearing, and then he opens his eyes. The figure beneath the bronze. He doesn't move, doesn't rise, just watches. The bull eyes are not red, not black. They're amber, ancient, gentle, tired. He speaks, and this time I hear it in the room, not in my mind. You left me here. My knees buckle. I drop beside the bronze, forehead nearly touching it. I didn't know, I whisper again. But that's not true. Some part of me always did. He speaks once more. Then know it now. The chamber shifts. The spiral walls begin to turn. Not physically, but visually, as if the entire space is folding inward, spiraling into itself like a pupil dilating to consume all light. And I see everything. The rituals, the dancers, the sacrifices, the quiet rebellion of silence, the decision to forget, to sweep it all away, to bury it, and walk on. I was part of that. Not a priest, not a ruler, just a child who knew too much and chose to shut the door. But doors don't forget. They wait until someone remembers how to open them again. The figure beneath the bronze does not blame me. I see that now. He mourns me. I reach down and press my hand flat against the metal. It yields again, not like before. This time, it accepts me. The spiral opens in the floor, widening, not into a pit, but into a mirror. And in it, I see the god rising, not in rage, not in glory, but in silence. Tall, wounded, covered in dust, and looking at me not with hunger, but with forgiveness. I don't remember standing. I only know that when the bronze stopped glowing, I was on my feet, and the god beneath it was gone. No great sound, no blaze of light, just absence. As if he had never been there. except for the warmth still clinging to the soles of my feet, and the faint indentations where his shape had once curled beneath the metal. The chamber is silent now, and for a moment, so am I. My body feels hollow in a way that doesn't hurt, like I've been wrung out and rinsed clean. My hands hang limp. The thread has wound itself around my wrist again, softly, as if to say, "We're not done." I gather the objects from the floor, though each one feels heavier now, charged with something I don't quite understand. The coin is warm. The mirror shard is cold. The red cloth is damp again, this time with water, not blood. And the spiral shell in my pouch hums like a distant song I can't quite remember how to sing. The walls are no longer spinning. The heartbeat has gone quiet, and I should leave. Except I can't. Because now there's something different, a hallway behind me, one that wasn't there before. I don't turn to face it. I simply feel it opening, like a yawn at the base of the world. The floor beneath me softens just slightly, inviting. I step through. The hallway is narrow, but not in the way the others were. This one doesn't press or tighten. It widens with each breath I take, as if it's learning my shape and adjusting to it. The light here isn't fire or glowstone or torch. It's reflective, bouncing softly from the walls, which are no longer stone. They're made of something smoother, almost like clay, not carved but molded, still drying. I brush my fingers against the surface. It crumbles slightly, just enough to leave an imprint, a spiral. Of course. The passage continues, and with it, a low hum begins. Not a bell, not a voice, a vibration. Deep and low, like a throat clearing beneath the ground. It grows louder as I walk, but not sharper. It wraps around my steps, around my breath, around the quiet panic that's begun to rise in the back of my ribs. Then, a room. Round, as always, but different. This one is filled with figures. Statues, number people, still as statues, eyes closed, breathing, barely. I count them. 7, each seated in a shallow basin of salt, hands resting palm up, heads tilted as if listening to something in the deep. I don't know if they're alive, but I know they're not dead, and I know them, not by name, but by presence, by what they meant to me before I chose to forget. One of them has a mark on their cheek, a line of soot that curves downward and ends in a hook. I've drawn that symbol before, in dust, as a child, to keep bad dreams from escaping under the door. I step closer. The salt shifts beneath my feet. One of the figures exhales, a long, low breath. Their eyes stay closed, but their lips part, and they speak. "You made the door." I blink, my heart stutters. "What?" Their voice is fragile, paper soaked in time. "You made the door, then you sealed it, and you asked us to stay." I feel the words land inside me like coins dropped into a well. I kneel beside them. The others remain still, but this one speaks again. "Did you bring the thread?" I nod, slowly, unwrap it from my wrist, hold it out. Their hands lift, slowly, uncertainly, and take it. They don't tie it. They eat it, not with mouths, with breath. The thread dissolves into their skin like smoke, and in that moment, they open their eyes. Amber, just like his, just like mine. I fall back, and the room begins to pulse. Not with light, with awareness. One by one, the others begin to stir, eyes fluttering, fingers twitching, the salt beneath them shifts, and I remember. Not everything, but enough. This isn't a room of prisoners. It's a room of promises, and I was the one who made them. I asked these 7 to wait, to hold the memory while I tried to forget, to keep it breathing, even if the world moved on. And now I've returned, which means it's time. The one who spoke lifts their hand and touches my chest. Their fingertip burns, just a little. A mark left behind, a small spiral drawn in warmth. Now you carry it, they say. I don't argue. The others begin to rise. Their faces are worn, their eyes heavy, but there is peace in their posture. They do not ask what comes next. They already know. They were waiting for me to remember. And now that I have, the walls behind me open once more. The path ahead is lit not by flame or torch, but by memory. And 7 shadows follow behind me, not as ghosts, but as keepers of something sacred, something we once tried to bury, and now must carry again. We walk in silence, the 7 and I. Their footsteps make no sound, yet I feel them behind me, like memories trailing breath. Each step forward feels lighter and heavier at the same time, as if I'm climbing down into something vast. The corridor widens into a slope, not stairs, not a hallway, a descent into a belly carved not by tools, but by time. The walls breathe again, and the floor pulses faintly, like walking on the palm of a sleeping god. The path bends, curves, and I realize we're spiraling again. Always spiraling. I glance back just once. They're still behind me, heads bowed slightly, eyes closed, or maybe just too bright to stare into. They are not guiding me. They're following. I'm the one leading now, and that terrifies me more than anything so far. I pass carvings along the wall, etched in irregular lines, not by artists but by fingernails, by bloodied bone. Ancient messages scrawled in pain, in reverence, in warning. The same symbol over and over, a spiral. But this one is cracked, split down the middle. I reach out to touch it, and the wall flinches. Not from fear, from recognition. I step away. The corridor tightens again, this time on purpose, forcing me to crouch, then crawl. I smell earth, clay, ash, something like breath dried on old cloth. It's darker here, and I can no longer see the glow. But it doesn't matter. My hands know the way. There's a rhythm now. Left palm, right palm, knee, breath, repeat, repeat, until the space opens again, and we emerge into a room unlike the others. This one is not round. It is jagged, a broken square with tilted edges, like a box that forgot how to hold shape. And at its center, the floor pulses with movement. The mosaic, it's alive. Not visually, not with light, but underneath. I kneel beside it and watch. The tiny tiles shift just slightly, only when I don't look directly at them. They realign when my gaze returns, pretending to stay still. I brush away dust. The pattern underneath is incomplete, a spiral missing its center. One of the 7 steps forward. Their voice is quiet, but steady. We stopped before the last turn. Another speaks. You told us to. I whisper. Why? The third answers. Because you were afraid of what you'd find there. I want to deny it. I want to say I was brave, but I know the truth. I look down again. The mosaic shivers once. Tiles shift like breathing scales. The floor beneath us is not just alive, it's waiting. I reach into my pouch and pull out the last of the pieces. The mirror shard, the coin, the shell, the cloth. One by one, I lay them at the edge of the pattern. Nothing happens until I unwrap the thread from my wrist. It's nearly transparent now, so thin it's barely there. But when I place it in the center of the spiral, the air holds its breath. The room darkens further. Then the floor begins to rise. Not fast, just enough to lift the center mosaic like a lid. Beneath it, a pit, shallow, circular. Inside it, a body, Not whole. Pieces, carved horn, burnt cloth, bone wrapped in silk, hair curled around a sunstone. No face, not anymore. But I know who it was, and I know who it is. One of the 7 gasps. The others bow their heads. I remain kneeling, frozen. This is the God before the forgetting. This is the God I buried, not in punishment, in grief. I whisper, "You asked me to let you rest." And from somewhere beneath the bone, a sound answers. "I asked you to remember." The mosaic begins to shift again, forming a new pattern, not a spiral, a circle with a gap, an open mouth. I step into the pit. The 7 don't follow. They remain at the edge, still as prayer. I kneel beside the pieces. They do not decay. They do not change. They wait. I reach out and touch the horn. It's smooth, warm. It pulses once, then again. Then, a light, not from above, from within. Each piece begins to glow softly, and the chamber pulses with it, as if it's breathing again after a long, dark silence. One of the 7 begins to sing. No words, just tone, a lullaby with no beginning. The others join. I don't remember teaching them the song, but I know the notes. I hum along. The pieces begin to rise, lift from the floor and swirl in the air, forming a shape, not of a god, not of a beast, but of something in between, something human, something divine, something I once called friend. The light brightens, and I feel the thread around my wrist melt away. Not burn, dissolve, because I've given it back, and the god remembers. So do I. The shape stills, hovers, a breath away from returning. And I ask the only question I've been avoiding. What happens when you wake up? The shape does not answer, but the chamber does. The spiral on the wall begins to spin, not visibly, inward, tighter, deeper. And I understand. When he wakes, so will everything we chose to forget. The spiral hums like a storm in reverse, everything pulling inward, compacting, folding memory into something small enough to carry. The chamber trembles, not violently, but rhythmically, as if the very stones are remembering how to move again. The god, not yet whole, not yet awake, hangs suspended above the pit. The light radiating from the pieces has settled now, pulsing slowly. The air smells like crushed pine, salt, and smoke. Not incense, not rot, something cleaner, like the moment after rain. I step back from the pit, and the 7 part for me. Their faces are calm now, or maybe exhausted. The song has stopped. The echo remains, faint and warm, like a lullaby sung to a sleeping fire. One of them speaks. He's listening now. I whisper, "Can he hear me?" They all nod, but none of them look at me. They're staring at the walls. I follow their gaze. The spiral is still shifting. And then, like steam on a mirror, writing appears across the stone. One last thing. It pulses once, then disappears. Another line fades in. The question you never asked. I freeze, because I know what it means. I've always known. It isn't, who am I? It isn't, what did we bury? It's, why did we forget on purpose? The words form on the wall before I can say them, and the answer comes not in sound, but in feeling. The weight returns, the grief, the sharp, bone-deep kind. The kind that settles in your breath and makes you forget how to hold joy without apology. The pit glows brighter. The shape hovers higher. And behind me, no footsteps, no wind, just a sudden presence. Close. Familiar. First turn. He's there. Not the god in pieces, not the shadow from the mirror, but the boy from the old vision, the one who laughed behind me, who I didn't turn around to save. His face is clearer now. Not angry, not hurt, just waiting. His eyes are mine, or maybe they were once. He lifts a hand, and there in his palm is something small. A bowl, empty, ceramic, cracked, glazed in a spiral. I take it without speaking, and know instantly what it is. Not a vessel, a vow. I glance toward the 7. They nod again. One by one, they kneel around the pit. The song doesn't return, but something deeper stirs. I hold the bowl above my head, arms trembling. The figure in the pit flickers, not from light, from memory, like a fire remembering how it started. And then he speaks, not aloud, not inside me, through me. What will you carry forward? The bowl hums in my hands, waiting for my answer. I don't know how to reply. What can I carry forward? This story, this shame, this God who never asked for devotion, only remembrance? I look at the bowl again and whisper, I will carry your silence. The moment the words leave my mouth, the bowl fills with light. Not heavy, but whole. The chamber sighs. The spiral on the wall stops spinning. The figure above the pit descends slowly, gently, settling back into the mosaic floor. But this time, not as pieces, as presence. I step into the pit one last time, place the bowl at his feet, and kneel. The 7 stand behind me, forming a circle. I feel their breath steadying. I feel mine loosen. The God doesn't rise. He doesn't need to. He's awake now, and that's enough. I rise from the pit, and the pathway opens behind me. A breeze. Real. For the first time in hours or years, I feel air from the surface. I glance toward the corridor, lit now by morning sun. Real sun. And I realize something. I've been underground only a day, but something tells me much longer has passed. Time has folded, and something has changed. Not just in me, in the world. The 7 wait. They won't leave with me. Their work is done. Mine is not. I take one last look at the God. Still, whole, remembered, and whisper, I won't forget again. His breath rises once, like smoke, then stills. I step into the corridor, and the light is warm on my skin. But behind me, just once, I hear a sound. A low voice speaking softly. It says, good. The corridor back to the surface feels longer than it should. Or maybe it's just that my feet have forgotten how to walk in straight lines. Every hallway here wants to spiral, wants to wrap itself around a memory and squeeze until it becomes something else. But this path is different. It's dry. Sunlight pulses in and out like breath through a cracked door. The scent has changed, too. No more ash or resin. Now it smells like olive leaves and morning heat on wet stone. I run a hand along the wall, half expecting it to pull away again, to whisper one more secret. But it stays silent, still warm, but finished speaking. I keep walking. I pass old stairwells, sealed alcoves, and storage rooms I don't remember entering, though a part of me knows I have. Somewhere in the space between days and dreams. I look down at my feet, now dusted in gold from the glow beneath. My toes press gently against the ground, and for a moment, I feel the heartbeat again. But it's mine this time. Only mine. I step into a chamber near the western stair, a room that shouldn't be here. It wasn't yesterday, but today it exists, and I step inside. It's small, cool, empty, except for a single mural painted across one wall, frescoed by hand, curling from floor to ceiling in faded, broken strokes. But the image is clear, a labyrinth, not from above, but from within, painted as if the viewer stands in the center looking outward, and all around it, faces, dozens, watching, some open-mouthed, some blindfolded. One looks just like me. Not an exact match, but close enough that I step backward involuntarily. Above it, a single word is carved in red paint. Remain. The paint runs slightly, like it was written with shaking hands. I stare longer than I mean to. Then I turn away. There's no door to this room, only a curtain, a deep violet cloth, thick and stiff. I push it aside and step into the light. Real light, not torch, not memory, sunlight. I squint. My eyes struggle. My skin drinks it in greedily, even as the warmth feels foreign now. It smells like jasmine and cooking oil, like day markets and children and sea salt. Familiar things, things I had forgotten how to love. I blink hard. There are people, moving in the distance, figures sweeping, someone laughing, a goat bleating. It's real. I'm back. But nothing looks quite the same. The palace is still standing, but there are new cracks, new vines, new silences. I walk toward the courtyard. 2 guards pass me, nodding politely, but they don't speak. They don't seem to see me fully. Or maybe they see more than I expect. As I pass through the central arch, I pause. There, against the far column, is a figure I don't recognize. Hunched, thin. They turn just slightly, and my breath leaves me. It's the scribe, but not as he was. He's older now. Hair white, hands trembling, still drawing spirals into clay. I approach. He looks up at me slowly, eyes rheumy, but then they sharpen, and he smiles, just slightly. You made it out. I kneel beside him. Did you know I would? He doesn't answer. He simply pushes a fresh tablet toward me. Blank, except for the single first swirl of a spiral, waiting to be completed. I stare at it. My hand lifts on its own, and I finish it. 3 turns, no more. The moment I do, the wind changes, a breeze from the east, carrying dust and birdsong. The scribe nods. That was all he wanted. I nod back, and I understand. It wasn't worship. It wasn't sacrifice. It was to be finished, to not be abandoned, to be carried forward. I rise again, and the palace unfolds in front of me like a waking animal, alive, unthreatening, but forever watching. And somewhere beneath me, deeper than words, he sleeps again, not because he was forgotten, but because he was finally remembered. And for the first time, he can rest. The sun hangs low now, spilling gold across the courtyard floor, pooling in the cracks between stones. The light isn't harsh, not like midday glare, but gentle, aged, the kind that's softened by time and dust and things left unsaid. I walk slowly through it, my fingers brushing the plastered walls like I'm reassuring them I've returned. No one stops me. No one calls my name. It's as if the palace has absorbed the memory of me, folded it into its structure, and no longer needs to speak it aloud. The thread is gone from my wrist, but I still feel it. Not physically, but in the way one remembers how it felt to be held as a child, or how music echoes long after the last note. I pass the dolphin mural. The paint's faded more than I remember, their smiles cracked by time. But there's something in their eyes now, some shimmer or depth or presence that wasn't there before. Or maybe it was always there, and I just never stayed still long enough to see it. The 5th bend of the East Passage, the one with the swelling in the plaster. I pause there again, press my fingers against the bulge in the wall, still warm, still breathing. But now, I don't feel watched. I feel known. I whisper, "Thank you." And the wall exhales softly beneath my hand. Up ahead, the corridor bends toward the storage alcoves, where the broom I dropped hours, or was it lifetimes, ago still lies in the corner. I lift it. It's lighter now. The bristles, dusted with gold flecks, feel softer than before, almost reverent. I begin to sweep again, not because I must, but because I choose to. The motion is meditative, small, circular, like drawing a spiral into the floor with each pass. And something about that feels right. Familiar. Finished. As I sweep, I notice something odd. The dust isn't just dirt. It's mixed with pollen. Tiny bits of crushed violet, sage, saffron, fragrant and colorful, like offerings, like blessings. Someone walks past me. A young runner, scrolls tucked under their arm, sandals slapping the stone. They nod once. Their eyes linger on the red thread still tangled loosely in the folds of my robe. They say nothing, but their expression says I remember. I sweep further down, toward the kitchens. The sounds are louder now, pots clanging, voices raised, the smell of lentils and sour bread rising from the clay ovens. I pass a group of servants. One stops mid-motion, her hand wrapped around a jug of oil. She stares at me for a moment too long, then nods. Not out of habit, but respect, because I carry something now, even if no one speaks of it, even if it lives only in silence. Back in the grain store, the pillar with the dog-shaped carving stands cracked but sturdy. I pause there again, lean against it, just briefly. It's strange. Everything looks the same, but feels different. Like a dream I woke from only to find it had followed me into morning. I step through the threshold into the open yard beyond and stop. The wind is blowing from the sea now, cooler than it should be, carrying the smell of salt, sand, and something metallic, like bronze warmed by hands. I tilt my head, and for just a moment, I hear it again. Not the heartbeat, not the breath, but a bell, far away, ringing without sound, calling without command. And I realize I will always hear it now, that hum, that echo, that memory of a god once buried, and I will always walk with it, not burdened, not broken, just awake. The day stretches thin now, sunlight filtering like gauze through high-set windows, catching in the corners of things that usually go unnoticed. Dust motes hover in lazy swirls. Footsteps echo longer than they should. Somewhere deep in the palace, a reed flute plays, off-key, meandering, beautiful in the way forgotten things often are. I walk back through the northern corridor, broom resting lightly in my palm. No one has asked me where I've been. No one needs to. The palace knows. And those who tend its bones, sweep its lungs, cook its breath, they know too. Not with facts, with feeling, the way animals sense weather, or old wood senses storms. I pass a water jug left unattended beside the mural of the 3 leaping bulls. One of them has chipped horns now. That wasn't there before. I crouch beside it, run my fingers along the rough edge. The break is fresh, but the paint beneath it, older than everything I remember. And there, beneath the broken plaster, something new, a spiral, faint, scratched in haste, or by instinct. I press my thumb to it. A hum answers, just once. Like a closing door, I stand again, moving on, broom sliding across the floor with soft insistence. Each sweep a breath, each stroke a tether. I am not cleansing the palace. I am conversing with it, and it speaks back in small ways. A crack I've never seen before reveals a sliver of painted gold. A loose tile pings beneath my foot, shifting just slightly to catch the light. I pause at the west stairs. The steps are worn uneven by time, but today one has a mark, a thread, golden, short, tucked almost invisibly beneath the lip of a stair. I stoop and lift it gently between thumb and forefinger. It doesn't pulse, doesn't vanish. It just rests, like a piece of something once holy that has accepted its new life as a fragment. I roll it gently into my pouch, not to keep, just to carry, until the day someone else needs to find it. A child rushes past me, laughing, barefoot, chased by a cook with floured hands. I watch them vanish down a corridor. Their joy leaves a warmth behind it, one that settles in my chest with a weightless kind of gravity. It reminds me, this place is still alive, even if it remembers too much, even if it forgets in layers. I make my way to the upper halls. The wind shifts again, blowing in through the open air shafts. It smells like the sea, like resin, like rain that hasn't fallen yet. I reach the mural of the griffin, the one near the old crack in the wall. The same warmth waits beneath its wing, still breathing, still watching, but not waiting anymore. I rest a hand on the stone and whisper the only thing I haven't said all day. I forgive you. And maybe that's to the palace, maybe to myself, or maybe to the God who never asked to be buried in the first place. The reply isn't words. It's a stillness, deep, complete, like the way a room holds its breath when you wake from a nightmare and realize it was memory. I walk the rest of the way in silence, and when I pass through the outer gate into the late golden light, the world is unchanged. Cicadas drone in the trees. Goats bleat. Someone drops a basket. Children cry and are comforted. Everything normal, everything waiting, but inside me, something stays different. And I know now, it wasn't just one God we buried. It was any part of ourselves that remembered too deeply, felt too much, held too tightly. And now that I've brought him back, I carry all of it. Not with sorrow, with stillness, the kind that spirals gently outward, never ending, never demanding, just waiting to be noticed. And now, the palace sleeps again. The corridors fall quiet, their spirals traced, their echoes hushed. The dust has settled where the light no longer reaches, and the God beneath the stone is resting, not erased, not feared, just remembered, just held. You've been walking beside me, step by step, through the pulse of something older than names. You felt the silence, didn't you? The kind that knows your heartbeat before you do. The kind that asks nothing, but somehow leaves you changed. There's a thread still wrapped around your thoughts now. A soft, golden one. Maybe you didn't notice it at first. Maybe you still don't want to. That's all right. The labyrinth never rushes. Maybe part of you still lingers down there, in that circular room, beside the mirrored shard and the cracked spiral. Maybe a version of you still holds the bowl of light and doesn't quite know why they're crying. Let them stay. Let them rest. Up here, the air is gentle. You're safe now. The wind smells of olive wood and rain clouds that never fully arrive. The walls aren't watching anymore. They're listening. The God's name was never meant to be spoken. But you know it now, don't you? Not in your mouth, but in your marrow. A name made not of syllables, but of footsteps, warmth, regret, and one final turn of the spiral. Breathe. You've been there. Now come back slowly. Feel the weight of the floor beneath you, the hush of the room around you. Let your fingers uncurl. Let your jaw loosen. Let your breath find its rhythm again. You're not lost. You've simply remembered.